by the breeze. Anyway, thank you for coming on time, and we'll start with a short prayer. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we are grateful, Lord, that we have come to another end of the week, and Lord, we thank you that we have come to this another session that we could learn about Turnitin and how we can use it effectively. Lord, may you be with our facilitators at the Melody and your Alvin as they go through with this workshop, and may you be with our learners as well and our participants. And may you give them wisdom from above for understanding. May you be with those who are still on their way, Father. Please protect them. And may this be a learning experience for all of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So we have here with us at the Melody from the academics and Kuya Alvin from the online department. And as announced, um, we'll be talking about Turnitin. So I'm gonna give the floor to them once technology cooperates.
Yes.
Ay, sorry. May USB port.
Nagawa naman.
Yeah. Wala kanina ba?
Ayan. So,
Yeah. Extended.
okay.
Paano nga makita yung note sa gilid?
Yung note sa gilid.
Yan na. Okay.
Okay. Okay, good morning again, everyone. My name is Alduin Tapiseria from the IAS Online Department. Today we will be talking about mainly about Turnitin, but also we will be touching a little bit about plagiarism and what falls under plagiarism. Okay. So here is what we will be talking about. Okay. So we will also be discussing some things about academic integrity, some of the IAS policies that cover this scope, and then we will be looking at some ways that you can use Turnitin with our LMS. Okay. So what is plagiarism? Can anybody share their idea or insights of plagiarism? Excuse me, sir? A breach of academic integrity, yes. So when we talk about plagiarism, this is what the Oxford Learning Dictionary mentions. Okay. Plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. Okay. Another one here from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. To plagiarize is to steal and pass off, to use without crediting the source, to commit literary theft, and to present as new and original an idea or product derived from an existing source. So, in a basic sense, plagiarism is taking something that is not yours and making it look like it's yours, right? So, this could also be defined as stealing or theft, or impersonification, and something like that, right? But plagiarism falls under those kind of categories. Okay. So here are some forms of plagiarism according to the website of Turnitin, right? Okay. Ate Melo, you want to read this or?
That's from the research
Oh,
manual.
so this is from the research, graduate school writing and research manual. Um, Having someone write or editorially rewrite a paper, even if the student provides some of the key references. Here are the taking words from a written source exactly as they were found, without enclosing them in quotation marks or giving credit to the original author in a footnote or in-text reference. And if you want to read more about this, this can be found in the research manual. This can be found in the IS website. You may download this. Okay, so there is a one for the seminary and one for the graduate school. Okay, so we will be looking at some types of plagiarism here. This is according to the Turnitin website. Okay. So we have here clone. Okay, cloning is what most people think of when they think of plagiarism, right? So using another's work word for word as their own. Okay, so this is the easiest type of plagiarism that you can do. Another type is Control C. Control C is the Windows shortcut, keyboard shortcut for copy. Okay. This is similar to cloning, but instead of copying a large chunk of text word for word, the writer adds or changes few small words here and there. Right? Overall, the majority comes from the same text. Okay. Another one is find and replace. It's similar again to the Control C, but instead focusing on changing beginning words in each sentence, and writer tries to change more significant keywords and phrases within the text in an attempt to make it appear that it is original, right? Okay, here's another one, remix. Writers begin to get a little bit fancier with their efforts of concealing their plagiarism. Rather than taking large chunks of text from one source, the writer takes information from multiple sources and paraphrasing the information and fitting it together to make it appear as if it all works together seamlessly. Right? So that's the remix. And then we have recycle. This borrows generously from the writer's previous work without citation. Okay. So if in the past you had some works, some things that you have submitted or published, reusing it without properly citing still falls under plagiarism. Hybrid here combines perfectly cited sources with copied passages without citation. Okay, so this is like a mix here and there. And then we have mashup. Mixes copied material from multiple sources. And then we have several more. This all can be found from the website of Turnitin. Okay, another one here, error. Include citations that are non-existent or inaccurate information. Right? Aggregator includes proper citation to sources, but the paper contains almost no original work. Okay, so you're basically just compiling things. And then here, a retweet. includes proper citation but relies too closely on the text's original wording and or structure. So those are some of the forms of plagiarism. There are many more types. Okay. So academic integrity refers to the ethical standards and principles that guide behavior in educational and research environments. So this is according to the International Center for Academic Integrity. There are 6 fundamental values of academic integrity, and these are honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. So when we're talking about honesty, this is being truthful in all academic endeavors. Trust, or fostering a climate of mutual confidence and support. Fairness is treating all individuals equitably and practicing impartiality in judgments and decisions. And respect is recognizing and valuing the dignity and rights of others in the learning process. Responsibility, or taking ownership of one's actions and their impact on the community. And courage is standing up for academic integrity and making ethical decisions even when it is difficult. Okay. So here is the IAS code of academic integrity. This can be found in our academic bulletin. It says there, exhibiting, promoting, and protecting academic integrity is the responsibility and privilege of every member of the IAS community. So this is both teachers, students, and the other personnel. Academic integrity is a core value of this institution, and honesty in all academic situations is an extension of personal integrity, which is expected of every Christian. So what is Turnitin, or what does Turnitin have to do with our academic integrity, right? So Turnitin is a tool that helps educators uphold academic integrity and advance learning with an AI detection technology. It offers flexible solutions for higher education, secondary education, research and publication, and exam preparations. Okay, so Turnitin is a company that develops a huge amount of services or software that help in academic integrity. Here in IAS, we do use similarities, and we will ask Ma'am Melody to talk about that right now.
Okay, now we'll be discussing about understanding the Turnitin similarity report. When you use the Turnitin, before you use the Turnitin, first you need to be registered first, because Turnitin is now integrated in the Moodle. So when you are registered or you are already taking your classes, the Turnitin is already in your Moodle or in your classes. So when you submit your papers, it will be automatically detected by the Turnitin, and you will see the similarities of your work. So to view the match overview offers a clear summary of sources that match text in your writing. So you will see this red box in your Turnitin when you use the Turnitin. So to view the match overview, click the red number, similarity score from the similarity toolbar. If similarity layer was inactive, it will now be active, highlighting all matches on the paper. So you will just click the number button there, or the number box there, 50. So when you click it, it will show you the similarities. So you have 50% similarities on your paper, shown here in the sample. So the match overview section displays the similarity percentage and a breakdown of all the matches that have been found on a paper. The similarity percentage ranges from 0 to 100, where 0 representing no matches and 100% meaning everything matches. So when you click, so here it's 50%. When you click the percentage there, it will show you the breakdown. So like here, the 22%, it will show the where or what books does it come from. So the 5% from and Wikipedia, the 3% from document.pub, and so on. Okay, when you click, a source box will appear on the paper, revealing where the text has been identified in the source. If you would like to read the full source, click the book icon in the top right-hand corner of the box. So when you click the icon there, the book icon, so it will show you the full, revealing all the text that shows the similarity of your paper. Okay, when you click it, the full source can now be viewed in the full source text side panel with all matching text shown in red. So the similarity, your similarity shown there, and it is highlighted in red. And now we will know what are the meaning of those colors in your paper. So if it's blue, if the highlight is blue in your paper, it means no matching text. When green, it means 1 word to 24% matching text. And if yellow, 25 to 49% matching text. Orange, 50 to 74 matching text. And red means 75 to 100% matching text. So a while ago, it shows that the highlighted text is color red. So it means 75 to 100% of your text has the similarity. So the similarity score represents the percentage of your writing that's similar to something found on the internet, in the Turnitin's databases, or in some else paper. So similarity doesn't mean that your work is plagiarized. So what can you pick up from the score? So here are some things that you can learn from your similarity score. So my score is too high. So if your score is too high, this means that too much of your paper comes from other sources. So consider the following. Balance the information that you use from the text with your own writing. Determine when it would be most appropriate to paraphrase, summarize, or explain an idea in your own words. Proper cite each source that you reference. So if your score is too low, this means that too little of your paper comes from other sources. So you also need to balance your writing, determine when it would be most appropriate to quote, and proper cite each source that you reference. So if large section of your paper comes from a source, this means that too much of your paper comes from other sources. So you need to include your own words in your writing. Where necessary, select only the most important part of each quote rather than including an entire paragraph, and explain each quote that you reference, offering an analysis of how it applies to your claim. And how about large sections of your paper are only my words? So this means that too little of your paper comes from other sources. So you need to include research-based information that can support your claim, and proper cite each source that you reference. So it means when you're doing your work, it needs not too high and not too low similarities, because when you have a high score of similarities, it means that you have similarities with other sources, and if it's too low, sometimes you only use your own words, but it doesn't mean that it's okay. You also need to do your research base and do the citation properly. So limitation of Turnitin. So there's also limitation of Turnitin. Despite being very popular tool among educators for improving writing and detecting plagiarism, it does have some limitations. So here are some limitations. Turnitin, false positive, false negative, limited. Wait. Paano ba to? Hindi ko siya ma-point dito. So limited understanding context, no real web crawling, limited language support, cannot detect contract cheating, private and data retention, and misinterpretation of similarity report. So now we will be discussing one by one the limitations of Turnitin.
Sorry, balik.
Dito. Okay, false positive and misinterpretations. So Turnitin flags text based on similarities in its database, but does not detect plagiarism directly. It offers marks properly cited or common phrases leading to false positive. So limited database coverage, despite its extensive collection, Turnitin's database did not cover all positive sources, especially newer or proprietary content, which means some plagiarized material may not be detected. Inability to detect idea theft. So Turnitin primarily checks for textual matches, so it cannot identify plagiarism of ideas or concept if they are paraphrased or paraphrased differently, making it less effective against more sophisticated form of plagiarism. So lack of content. Lack of contextual understanding, the tool does not distinguish between intentional plagiarism and unintentional similarity. Ethical and privacy concerns, Turnitin stores student work in its database, which has led to databases over the intellectual property rights of students, while the company has defended its practices under fair use concern about the privacy and consent remain. So we have an IAS policy that it says according to it is voted through ADCOM that Learning Management System or LMS requires by the start of intersemester 2023. So it says there that all courses taught at IAS regardless of delivery method must utilize an LMS. Unless otherwise voted by ASAC prior to term B, the default LMS will be Moodle and required for all courses taught at IAS effective from the start of intersemester 2023. So now we are using LMS. That's why Turnitin is now integrated in your Moodle. Before, we give personal accounts to every student. For the Turnitin, we gave them their user account and then password for them to submit their paper and Turnitin to see their similarities. But now, since it is integrated in your Moodle, you can access Turnitin on your Moodle account. We don't give personal account anymore. So understanding the basic of assignments, submitting assignments, checking similarity, editing submission, due dates, and cut off. So now we will hear from Aldwin on how we can use Turnitin in our Moodle.
Are there any questions so far, by the way? Before we move to yes, sir. Yes, Turnitin can detect AI use, and we are using it here in IS at the moment. But we will show you in a bit. The AI detection in Turnitin can only be viewed by the teachers. So the students don't have access to that, but the way you will be able to see it is if you can request the teacher to share with you the report. But as of this moment in Turnitin, it's only the teacher that can see the AI detection. Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the presentation so far. My concern again has to do with the personal account for Turnitin. Again, I understand that now we don't give personal accounts anymore. By my previous university, though the professors had their own, but still they will give it to the students so that even as you work and you are done, you can turn it in to see whether you have met the threshold or not. Then you can work on it before finally it's being extrapolated to them. In our case here, as you just said a moment ago, that it's only the professors who can see the AI detection and all of that. Maybe you may want to give us a spirit behind it. Is this something that I was requesting that we could have access to it so that we can also see it as well? Because at the end of the day, we want to produce a better work free from plagiarism. So if we could have access to it on a personal level too.
Yes, thank you. So the question is about personal accounts for Turnitin.
For Turnitin?
Okay.
No.
According to the policies of IS at the moment, if you are registered to a course in IS, the course needs to have an LMS. It needs to use an LMS, so it will have a Moodle course. Each Moodle course can use Turnitin for assignments. So if you are enrolled in a course in IS, you should be able to use it to go through Turnitin. That's the policy. So if you do need Turnitin for example, thesis writing, dissertation writing, and all of that, you may request for it if it doesn't exist, because that is your right according to policy. So you should be able to use that. Yes, ma'am.
Just an addition, a backstory of how we also chose to include it in the LMS is because if a student has their own personal account, that also occupies an additional
Another
license.
Mm.
And that would mean that it will occupy more
More
spaces and more licenses. With that decision, we chose to, the institution chose to include it in the LMS so that it will require that the student will use their IS account and at the same time it is under a course. Because previously there were students that they were using their IS account
And personal
plus
account.
a personal non-IS account. So that multiplies the licenses slots. It fills that slots, so the institution will have to pay additional licenses to occupy more students.
Yes. Okay. So just for the purpose of the recording, I'm not sure if the mic heard. Yeah. So in the past, when we were giving out personal licenses, there were duplicated licenses according to Ma'am Lyra. So IAS only subscribes to a certain limit of user licenses for Turnitin. So we chose to go to the path where we only use IAS accounts and not create other accounts using other Google accounts for that purpose. Yes, sir. Okay, for the AI detection, yes. Um,
For
how would
the-
I say this? I'm
Let
sorry,
me say
but
about
yes.
AI subscription. It is now limited for the professors because the subscription is expensive. So IAS cannot afford to give all the access to the students and at the same time to the professors because IAS has limited fund. So for now, they have decided that we give AI detection with the professors first. So just like Aldwin said, you can know the AI similarities of your paper if you will ask your professor. They will show it to you, so you will know.
Yes.
In connection to this question, sorry that he's in the foundation. We truly understand the points that you were raising and from the policy point of view that IAS is coming from. But is it possible, it's just a possibility question, that just like how the students have access to the writing center for editing purposes before submission, meaning all the students at IAS do not have a personal, maybe professor where they go for editing, or there's an editing center where all the students can come. Since the AI detection is really expensive and is just limited to the professors, will it be possible to make it available maybe at a particular center outside also the professor? That if the student wants the paper to be viewed before submission, the student can go to that center and then submit before the student can view before submission. I think that one is just a suggestion. Maybe so that at least it will not be given to all the students, but there is a center where the student who is interested can go and they will check before he or she can submit the work. It's just a suggestion.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion, sir. We will echo that to the administrators. So maybe if they can give at least to the research center the access. So maybe if they will allow it, we will just echo it to them.
Yes, yes, sir.
A little concern again has to do with the submission of, for example, those who have started writing their dissertation, or someone may want to write an article to utter, or any of these that are not embedded in the model, and they may want to check for Turnitin. What's the process to go through?
Yeah, so unfortunately, if it is not, it doesn't have anything to do with a course that you have registered in IAS, IAS cannot provide you with a Turnitin account for that purpose. So if it's a personal paper that you are presenting somewhere, then IAS cannot, I'm sorry, IAS cannot help you with that. But if it is something in relation to a course, then yes, you have every right to use Turnitin for that purpose, yes. So dissertation writing, thesis writing, projects or anything, you should be able to use Turnitin for that. So if your class, again, if your class or your teacher is not using an LMS for the class and you need to use Turnitin, please request them to have that available to you. But in the meantime, may I please just go here for a little bit? I think this could answer some of your questions. So this is Moodle. I think if not all of you have seen this yet, most of you probably have used this. Okay. So in this case, I will just demo a little bit of how the assignments in Moodle work. Okay. So you have all seen this, right? I'm assuming you have seen Moodle. I am logged in as a student currently, and I will submit an assignment. Okay, so in this case, it shows here that the due date is set to April 2026, and I can see this submission status, right? So I have here, this is attempt number 1. No submission has been made, and the time remaining is found here. Okay. So for those of you who have already found this out, in your dashboard, you will also be able to see a timeline, right? If you haven't gone through your dashboard, I encourage you to go through it. For the courses that set due dates on the assignment submissions and any requirements that use the LMS, Moodle will remind you of those submissions here. Okay, so in the timeline here, you should be able to see when a due date is approaching. Within a week or two of the deadline or the due date, it should show here. Okay, and then up here you will see your recently accessed courses, right? So I want to just bring your attention that Moodle does remind you of. Let me close this. Okay, so Moodle does remind you of due dates. It will send email notifications as well, so you will be reminded of that through your email. Okay, so please check your IS email regularly. So here I will submit an assignment. Okay, so here, and then let me just see if there is any file here that I can drag and drop. Maybe there's a random file. Okay, let's say here some. Let me. Okay, so it's as simple actually as dragging and dropping. Sorry. Okay, so let's say this is. So for example, here is a file that I have submitted. Okay, so when I upload a file in Moodle, this time this is called the draft stage. Okay, so now my assignment is a draft. It hasn't been graded, but then I have a button here that says submit assignment. Okay, so please, while you're not yet final with your assignment and you want to turn it in, leave your assignment here for a while. Okay, at this stage, your file has been sent to Turnitin. Okay, so if you refresh and come back in a while, maybe in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a report should be returned here. Okay. Okay, so it's taking a while, but while this file is being sent to Turnitin and a report is being sent back, you are still able to edit your submission and remove submission. Okay, so before you submit your assignment at this stage, use this time to check it through Turnitin. Okay, so before the due date, you can already upload your file here, and then it will return a report. You can check the report of all the similarities, and then when you want to make changes, you can make your changes in your Microsoft Word or wherever, and then when you want to replace this, you can do edit submission, and then select this file, delete, and then upload your new file and then save, right? And then when you are finally satisfied with the similarity or with your paper, and then you can submit assignment. Okay, so once you've clicked this submit assignment, it will signify, or it will tell the teacher that your assignment is final, that it is ready to be graded. Okay, so If, however, you have already clicked this and you want to resubmit, you will need to request your teacher to reopen the submission for you. Okay. So I think, sir and everyone, for those who want to check Turnitin before submitting the assignment, this is how you should do it in Moodle. Since we don't give accounts anymore for Turnitin, before you submit your assignment, you should be able to check the similarities first. Yes, sir. You had a question?
Hello, I have questions. If we edit the submission,
Mm.
there was is it referred to our teachers or just from this before submission of the assignment?
Mhm. Okay. So while it is in this stage, the teacher also can see this. However, if it's still a draft, the teacher shouldn't need to grade it yet, right? There's a due date for a reason. So the teacher sets a due date. Normally, the assignment will be graded after the due date. So if the teacher wants, you as a student should be able to change your file or modify the file, edit it, before finally submitting it to the teacher. There are some students that forget to click this, and to the teacher it still remains a draft, but the due date has passed. The teacher can elect to grade that draft. It's still gradable, because of course sometimes the student just forgot to click this. But some teacher sets the assignment so that beyond the due date you are not able to upload the file anymore or submit the file. And Moodle also marks it as a late submission. So if the teacher does want to penalize late submission, they may do that as well. But before finally submitting, before clicking this blue button, you should be able to go through. Let me see if it has returned the result here. Okay, so right now there's a Turnitin ID. Okay, so it has been sent. Let's see. Yeah, so Turnitin, it will take a while. Okay. Yes. You will just have to keep on refreshing or come back in a later time to check this. Okay. Yeah, so you could leave your course. You will still be able to see it there. Okay. So that the check box here will still signify that you have not done this or you haven't completed it because you haven't made the submission yet. Right? So you still can come back to this and check on it. Let's see. Final refresh. Okay, so not yet. But for those of you who are doing assignments through Moodle, try this. If you need to make a resubmission after clicking this button, you may request the teacher. Normally, if the due date hasn't arrived yet, you should be able to resubmit your assignment. Right? Okay. So are there any questions? Yes, sir.
So the detection is only the detection that is done by Turnitin is, I mean, for this one, it's only the similarities, right? Not the AI detection.
Yes.
AI is separate.
Let
It's
me.
not detected by Turnitin, right?
The AI detection is not viewable by the students. Yes. So let me see if I can. Okay. Okay, so from a teacher's view, this is what a teacher will see, that there is a file and there is an index. You will be also, as a student, you should also be able to see this. it will look like this. There's a bar, and Ma'am Melody has discussed what it means if it's a color blue and if it's color red, right? So this says it's 0% similarity, and when you click on that, it will open Turnitin. So at this stage, this is what you will see it if you had a personal Turnitin account and logging into their website. This is the similarity report. Okay, so this is just a file that we uploaded just for testing, right? On the right side, it will show here the similarity. So in this case, there's nothing showing. Maybe we should try something that has a report, right? Let's see if we can find, if I have here.
Yeah, 10%.
Why is this? Seems to be showing a different file.
AI 78%. AI.
Okay, so this is a sample. For similarity report here, it will show here that there are 10 match overviews. Okay, so this is what the report shows. There are numbers here, right? And then you could find here on the right side where this similarity has been taken from. Okay, you will notice that there are very small things, like for example, this word possible score, and rated as superior, these words. Of course, sometimes there are a series of words that are commonly used among other writers, and it could possibly be marked as a similarity, right? So just please be aware of that. Turnitin, the job of Turnitin is just to show where your paper is similar with other paper, right? So it depends on the setting of the teacher for the assignment. They could set word matches, the length of words, how many words or how many percentage should be detected as similar. So sometimes it could be 3 words, a 3-word series, or greater. Depending on their setting, that is what Turnitin will detect here. Okay. So for example, for this one, you will be able to go through this list. And if you want to see, for example, in ResearchGate, I want to see in detail where it is taken from. So it will show me like here 1%, 1%, where this phrase could have been taken from. Okay. So other universities, a lot of universities around the world also use Turnitin, and a lot of their student papers are submitted also to Turnitin. So, for example, for Andrews University also, their papers are uploaded to Turnitin. And if a paper, for example, if a writing or a student paper here in IAS takes something from a paper written from a person in Andrews University, it will show up as a similarity here. Although since it is a student paper, it will not show here details like who is the author and what. It will show that this paper is uploaded in by Andrews University, and then it allows the teacher or whoever is viewing the similarity report to request a copy of that paper where that is being detected. Right? So in case you are wondering about privacy, student papers are not publicly available as much as websites like this. So these are public websites. If they are student papers written by students in other universities, those are not readily available to those who are using Turnitin. And they have to be requested, and the university that is receiving the request has to grant the access to that paper. So they have the choice or the imperative to share that paper or not. Right? But it will still show that it is similar to something from there. Okay. So also you will notice that here, this is a teacher's view, by the way. There's the AI similar AI detection. Okay. Okay, yes. So here it will show that where it thinks the paper is AI generated, AI generated only. Okay. So like the similarity report, AI detection is not 100% proof or guarantee that the paper has been or this section has been 100% generated by AI, right? So there are cases still that it would return a false report that this has been written by AI, right? So although it shows here, for example, that this huge block of writing has been detected as AI generated, it is not 100% guaranteed that this is accurate. Okay, so how does the AI generation sorry, AI detection of Turnitin work? The way it works is it gets the whole block of text from the writing and then takes pieces of it and then what do you call it? It looks for similarities with how words are used. So because AI is a machine, it takes the words that it thinks is the best suited for that sentence and then uses that word. So for a machine to do that, because it's not actually human, right? So it does have an algorithm of which words to use. So there will be a pattern. In this case, if it detects that there is actually a pattern in the word sequences used in the text, then it will say, okay, this could have been written by AI, right? Humans, of course, humans will not be that accurate when it comes to words. Humans tend to use different words for different contexts, or so there are like small grammatical errors here and there. But for AI, it does have an algorithm in selecting words to form a sequence that makes a sentence. So if Turnitin detects that there is a pattern in a huge block of text in the way words come after the other, then that is how it detects if it is written by AI. Yes. So you may be a really good writer. Sometimes Ellen White has still been detected as AI. So that is yeah. So this is not 100% a guarantee or proof that your paper has been generated by AI. And teachers should be aware of that also. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so with that accuracy or with that fault, what is the percentage that IAS have set up that when it is detected in your work and be considered as an AI? Because if you see the whole block, and then highlighting it as an AI, and it is not 100% guaranteed.
So this will depend on the teacher. So IAS has given each faculty the independence or to make AI policies for their own classes. So some teachers could say you are allowed to use AI as much as you want, and sometimes some classes would say you cannot use AI at all. So there are levels of AI use in each class. So that will depend on the teacher.
Actually, we already have the AI policy for the graduate school and for the seminary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a general AI statement, but each teacher can determine within their class how AI is used. Yes, sir.
Yes. Does my question has to do with Grammarly being an AI power tool which we write for you to correct maybe syntax or grammar mistakes. Let's say I'm using Grammarly to correct my English, and most of those rewrites, it's let's say it's been flagged as AI. Is that AI generated intentionally or not AI generated unintentionally? Since Grammarly is being used at IAS. That's my
Okay.
question.
First of all, is your class allowing you to use Grammarly? Because that's also part of the course curriculum or the course syllabus. You should, there are list of AI tools that you can and you cannot use. So if your class is allowed to use Grammarly in your class, then you have to declare that you use Grammarly so that the faculty is aware. Oh, okay, this is probably it may be detected as an AI content, but if you declare that it is you use Grammarly to do so to help you with your paper, then you can point it out to your you can declare that to your professor. So yes, it may be detected since it is an AI generated or AI assisted content, but it will also refer there if it is like rephrased, AI rephrased, or basically just AI generated copy and pasted.
No.
Yes. So if you notice here,
Yeah.
yeah. So Turnitin does have the ability to detect this also. So it has AI generated only and AI generated text that was AI paraphrased also. It will be able to detect this.
Basically, your faculty will know if you wrote it or not. They will really know if how your writing style is.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you used AI, it's not really a problem. It's just that you have to be honest and declare what tools you used, how much of it you used. It's not really like it's a taboo that you're gonna hide it from your faculty. AI is there to stay and it's there to assist you.
Yes.
So for turning in and the similarities, writing the paper and academically there are words that people use. So if you want to detect it as a student, you have to submit your paper, you turn it in for a time to detect to detect the percentage of the similarity. So it means that you have to submit your work before the due date in order to determine the similarities.
Yes. The paper has to be uploaded before the due date. Well, similar with how you would use Turnitin before you submit the paper. Um, when the assignment in Moodle is open, you can upload your paper there anytime.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you detect that there are a lot of similarity, you can take it and edit.
Yes. So while it is in the draft stage, For example, for this, while it's in the draft stage, you will be able to edit, remove the paper. You can make changes, upload it. It will send it back to Turnitin. It will send a new report.
Because to turn it in, you see one attempt.
Yes.
And that one attempt, probably you'll be thinking that if you made that one attempt, you won't make any attempt anymore.
In Turnitin? No. Sorry. In Moodle, the view that says
is one attempt.
it just says that this is attempt number 1. Let me. Okay. So again, here in the okay, it returned a report already, so we can check that. It says here this is attempt 1, but yes,
Attempt, okay, yeah. This is attempt 1.
yes. But this attempt number is just the number of attempts in the Moodle assignment. It's not the attempt for Turnitin. So here, the setting that is the setting of Turnitin for assignments in Moodle is set so that you will be able to check a report or get a report from Turnitin immediately after you upload a file. So, for example, for this file, I uploaded it. It sends back a report, and then I can edit the submission, put a new file. It will send it back to Turnitin. Turnitin will send a report, and then you could do that again and again. The only limit is that there are three reports that Turnitin can generate in quick succession. After that, there will be a longer delay before it sends back a report. So, for example, for this file, I checked, and then immediately I made changes and send it back. After the third time I send it back, within the day or maybe within the hour, Turnitin will start delaying the return of the report. I think this is to avoid from people spamming their servers and keep on sending papers and for them to generate again and again. So after the third try or the third check, it will send it a little bit later. Yes,
So,
slower.
so the advice would be like you do all of your work,
Mhm.
send it there for the first time. When there is any detection of similarity, you do it maybe twice,
Mhm.
and then because later it will be delayed,
Yes,
so you have to complete all of your work and turn it in to check for similarity.
yes, yes. Yeah, so this attempt number is just for Moodle. This is because, for example, I have submitted this assignment, and then the teacher determined that I have to resubmit it. They can reopen another attempt for me, for example. Yes, sir. Sir first, and then yes.
Is there like a safe percentage in the living, or what does the policy says in how many percentage that is it just like zero, or it's like 5%, 10% for the 13
Ma'am
similar?
Melody.
Actually, there is no specific percentage for the Turnitin. Just like what we have said, Turnitin is just a tool to help you to find the similarities. But then it's still your own judgment if your paper was already okay for you or not for the percentage. Just like what Aldwin told before, sometimes it is show that you have a similarities, but it's just, for example, we use a template. Sometimes Turnitin will detect that you have a similarities. Of course, it has a similarity because that's the template that you are using to submit your paper. So if the similarities came from the template, so you will just analyze that, oh, this is not the similarity, or this is not included in the percentage, or if this is included in the percentage, so maybe I could just not think about that because it's just from the template. So
Is
something
there
like
like a policy or is just the professor's discretion if what percentage does he?
yeah, sometimes it's from the professor. Sometimes the professor will tell you how much or how many percentage they will allow you
Yes.
for your
As of this
paper.
moment, there is no policy that specifically states a percentage of Turnitin similarity that is acceptable. But some professors will give you a number. Some will say 25%
Like in AI or
in Turnitin for similarity.
What
Yes.
about AI, sir?
AI, it will depend on the teacher
But
for the
there
class.
is there like a policy or
No,
is there not
no.
that this 20% is just okay if it's AI generated? Is there like policy on that?
No, there's no policy on that. Yes. So just maybe just a quick run through of some of these questions here. How often does Turnitin detect plagiarism? So Turnitin never detects plagiarism, right? Because plagiarism is what do you call this? It's an ethics question. It's not something that a machine can determine. Okay, so plagiarism is not detected by Turnitin. This is a human judgment, so um, Turnitin cannot detect that. Here, how much plagiarism is acceptable? So never plagiarism is never acceptable in any way, form, or any level. Stealing is stealing. So in the eyes of God, when you break that commandment, it's already a sin, right? So that is. What is unintentional plagiarism? So there is such thing, right? Unintentional or accidental plagiarism is usually the result of a skill deficit. Okay, so when a student or somebody is ill-equipped in terms of writing or research, then there are things that happen and plagiarism or unintentional plagiarism is result. Okay. So this is because maybe the student wasn't taught about paraphrasing or how to cite properly or do research properly, and then this happens. Okay. How do I avoid plagiarism? So here are some tips. Manage your time during the researching and writing process wisely. Employ effective research strategies. Choose when to summarize, paraphrase, or quote information from your sources. Provide proper citations. Of course, use Turnitin to check. And then own your academic integrity and ask questions. So, especially that we are in an academic institution and we are all students, asking questions is not something that we should be afraid to do. If there are questions that or things that we need to find out, then this is the place to do it here in IS. So again, the similarity report in Turnitin does not tell your teacher that your paper is plagiarized. It should not. Okay, it should just show that, as Ma'am Melody showed a while ago, it depends. If the similarity rate in Turnitin, the report is too high, then it is an indication that you have used too many works of others for your paper, and maybe you should like put a little bit of your own insights into your paper, right? If it's too low, then you're using too much of your own words and your own understanding, and without citing other authors for that paper. So it is a balance of how to write properly. This tool will help you write properly. Same with AI detection. Okay, we are not all. I think most of us are not native English speakers, and of course we do use Grammarly, or we use AI to polish our writing, and this could mean that a lot of our writing would be detected as AI generated. Okay, but this doesn't mean that your paper is plagiarized, or that it is how would you say that it is not your thought. It could have been your idea, you could have used AI to write it properly, but it is still your idea. So um, the idea here, the academic integrity here, is just to make sure that what we present to others is our own, is our doing. We did not use AI to say, generate a paper for me. You used your research, you wrote a paper, you coded properly. You just used AI a little bit to polish a little bit, or to help you um, brainstorm, and then you made a paper. You Turnitin to check for similarities, polished it, and submitted it. So AI is just a tool. It's not as if IAS or your teachers are policing you in your writing. It should be used as a tool to better your writing process. So if there are other questions, yes sir.
Regarding the draft stage,
Mhm.
what if some of our courses don't have draft stage?
Okay.
Because some of our courses our requirements being submitted directly for grading.
Mhm. Okay. So let me see if I can. So if some of your assignments or the Moodle assignments are set up to submit right away for grading, let me see if you should be able to ask your teacher about it. Just tell them that if it needs to go through Turnitin, because uh, there are some teachers that do not enable Turnitin for the assignment also. So if that's the case, then that shouldn't be a problem. But if it does need Turnitin, you could request them to allow for that. Okay, yeah, there are some assignments probably that are not set up uh, to have that draft stage. But I think for those assignments, are you still able to edit submission after submitting? After you submit it, is there like edit submission button?
We can.
There is.
Because
Mm. You know, if that's the case, yeah. So if that's the case, then you can still edit your assignment, your submission. Yeah. Because I think the only two settings in Moodle is for there to be a draft stage, or you are you will submit the assignment, but you could still edit it until the due date. After the due date, you'll not be able to edit it anymore. Mm.
how about the footnoting, sir? Because most of our footnotes is being labeled color red.
Mm.
So what's that?
Yes. So it also depends on the setting for Turnitin. Turnitin can be set to exclude the bibliography or those references. But if it is not set to exclude, then it will include it. But the teacher should be able to determine that that is not part of the paper itself. Yeah. So yes, it could show, like for some of the assignments, as Ma'am Melody said, it could show a high level of similarity, especially if you're using a template. For example, you're doing a 2-page paper, but you have a title page that is used by everyone. So that's immediately like what 33% of the paper, the 1-page cover page, and then your 2 pages for your writing, and then it shows that the whole first page is the same with everybody else's. So it will show 33%, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the paper is plagiarized.
Even the footnote. The
Yes.
footnoting, it picks it up too as well.
Yes. So if the teacher hasn't set Turnitin to exclude those, then it will include those in the report. Yes.
But I believe that maybe if it is a footnote, the teacher will have their own judgment on that.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
believe that because footnoting, like SBL, APA,
Mm.
many people will use that
Yes.
footnote in the SBL. So probably the teacher will determine that, but in the work itself,
Yes.
there will be a problem.
Yeah, especially in the seminary because you are quoting a lot from the Bible, from
Yeah.
other writings. Of course, it will show it similar. Like there will be a high number of percentage just because you're quoting from the Bible, for example, right? So
Is it okay, sir, to how about the language? Hebrew and Greek is sometimes detected as red.
so yes, Turnitin has some limitations when it comes to there are going to be some languages that it will not be able to work properly, but I think Hebrew and Greek are not one of those languages. It will probably be some of these East Asian country or Southeast Asian country languages that Turnitin does not have a huge number of resources that are uploaded to it like that. So if it's Hebrew and there are a lot of Hebrew material submitted to Turnitin, it will have something to check against. But if not, then it will not be able to check those. Yes, if you have other questions or regarding Moodle and Turnitin, the IS Online department is here at the corner of the administration building. As when you get out of the library going to the admin, this corner on the first floor is the IS Online division. You could come and ask questions there anytime, or you could visit Ma'am Melody at the right wing of the administration building on that side. Yes.
Is there a possibility for the individual to subscribe to Turnitin? Apart from maybe IaaS subscription,
Mhm.
because I know IaaS subscription they have license,
You
but I
can subscribe personal account from Turnitin. Yeah, but you will pay for it.
you pay for yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
However, Turnitin right now does not have personal subscriptions. They
institutional.
yes, those type of things. But there are cases where you may find. I'm not sure if you may find it online. There will be cases that some of these institutions are selling out slots for their Turnitin. Maybe because they have very few students or they're not using up all their slots. You may find some of those kind of subscriptions. Yeah. But from Turnitin itself, they will not have like a Netflix subscription kind of thing where you can.
Because, like you said, if you are doing a paper or article to publish,
Mhm.
and it is not higher post work and all of those things,
Mm.
so you cannot access Turnitin and you want to
Mhm.
edit or to check your article before publishing it, the similarity. That's why.
Maybe you can make a request to IS probably.
Okay.
Then we'll see where. Yeah, because a lot of the students do this outside of their coursework. I understand presenting in other conferences and such. Yeah. Maybe Ma'am Melody can take note of.
I'll take note of your suggestions and sir suggestions regarding.
Yeah,
So when her new boss
One of the
arrives.
One of the suggestions that you should take note of, and then maybe we can check off or respond, is the AI detection center, like the writing
The
center.
writing center.
Because sometimes
They
hurts the students or something when you submit your work to the teacher.
Mhm.
Then the teacher will tell you that the percentage of AI is high, and normally is high level of AI.
Yes.
You'll be writing, even you type your own word, normally will underline or hold something, sometimes red, sometimes yellow, and they will give you suggestion or alternative or suggestion to choose a phrase that will suit that particular word.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you have done it and then maybe go to the AI center and check it off and see the percentage. Sometimes if the percentage is high, they might give you some other guide. So that suggestion, I think, you can consider it and work on this.
Okay. I'll take note of that. Thank you for the suggestion.
Are there any other questions, concerns? If it's financial, we cannot help you, sorry. Okay, if there are no other questions, shall we stand up and we can close with a prayer? Okay, let's pray. Dear loving Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time that we can gather with our students here at the computer lab to discuss about how we can use Turnitin to improve our writing. We ask you, dear Lord, to please bless our students, give them knowledge and wisdom as they go through their studies, as they write their papers, as they do their research. Please bless them that everyone that comes in contact with them will know that they are disciples of Jesus and that they are your children. Please be with us now as we part ways and as we prepare for the Sabbath day. May you continue to bless us. Thank you so much for hearing and answering our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. Stop.